Okay, in this video I'm going to be covering the gear and equipment that I actually carried with me on my Camino de Santiago this past June. I started in France on June 3rd and I finished in Santiago on July 6th. I'll provide in the notes my lighter pack packing list. It has all the weights and all the items I actually carried, and I can also put a link in there in grams as well. All right, first item on the list is going to be the backpack. I know a lot of people kind of struggle over what kind of backpack to get, or how big to get, or how small to get, or what they're going to carry, what they're not going to carry. But the bag I used, I carried the Osprey Kestrel 38. This bag weighs 3.25 pounds on its own. And some people say, well, that's really heavy, but honestly, the reason I picked this pack is not because of the weight, but because of the comfort and the features, which is something that you should really consider if you're gonna walk 30 to 40 days with 15 to 20 pounds on your back every day, however you do it. So let me talk about this bag. This bag is really good. A lot of the features that I like about it. Has really nice shoulder harness. It's adjustable for your torso length. It does come in men's and women's. It has a really nice hip belt, which is really wide and padded. Hip belt pockets. It's very adjustable. Has your load lifters or load stabilizers, which help you adjust the way the pack rides on your back, closer to or away from. It's got a nice mesh. I hike mostly in predominantly hot weather, so I like the breathability of the bag. I mean, you're still gonna sweat, but it does make it, you don't feel it like the bag is sticking to your body, which is nice. Some of the other features it has, it does have a top lid. It's got a separate pocket here, which does hold quite a lot of stuff. What I normally keep in here is my first aid kit, and then whatever snacks I might have for the day so that they're readily available, and just miscellaneous items, but it does allow you to keep a lot of stuff. The top of the lid has another zippered pocket where you can keep other items. It is a top loader, so everything goes in through the top, but the unique thing about this bag, especially for a bag of this size, is the Kestrel 38 comes with a side axis zipper. So if I had this bag fully loaded, I would be able to open the side and I can get anything in the bag that I might have in different layers. So if you pack your bag in layers like I do, what I do is I put my clothes in one bag and then other items, you know, in succession on top. I could get any one of them. I didn't actually use this feature because I'm not a big, I don't tend to dig in my bag in the middle of the day. I usually pack it, wear it all day, and then unpack it at the end of the day. And because pretty much you use everything in your bag, you're gonna unpack your whole bag every day anyway. It does have a large stuff it pocket. And this pocket is good. This is where you keep your rain gear, anything you need to get to right away, like rain gear or fleece or something. Say you start out in the morning and it's kind of chilly. You can stuff your fleece in here after you take it off. You don't have to open your whole bag to get to it. It's very adjustable. I ran some shot cord along here, which allowed me to hang up extra stuff, like if I had a wet washcloth or socks or something that didn't dry overnight, or I could hang it onto here. It also has a lot of attachment points. I was attached these little carabiners here, these snap hooks, where I could put my slippers on the outside and have to stick them in my bag, get everything done. Another feature it has is it has a separate sleeping bag compartment. I did use a sleeping bag on the Camino. What I liked about it is I could stuff my sleeping bag in here, or my fleece, items that I don't necessarily need all the time, in here, and keep it separate and be able to get it out on its own without having to take everything out of the bag. Another good feature about this bag that a lot of packs don't have, although Osprey is starting to put them on a lot of their bags because a lot of people complain, is it does have its own separate rain cover. Comes with the bag, it's attached to the bag, you can disconnect it. Covers the whole bag, keeps it nice and dry. And the good thing is the storage pocket is on the bottom of the bag, so if it's still wet, you can just stuff it in there. You don't have to get all your gear wet when you're replacing your rain cover. And it does come with side pockets. There's two pockets on each side, one here, one here. You can put a water bottle in there. You know, you can carry a full wine bottle, which I carried a couple of wine bottles a few days. These are easy to reach. They do have openings. If you're familiar with Osprey bags, you can reach back and pull a water bottle out. It takes a little bit of flexibility, dexterity, but I was able to do it. So And another good feature about this bag that a lot of bags don't have is it does have a water bladder. You can carry a water bladder, but in this bag, you can put the water bladder on the outside of the bag. You don't have to go into the inside to put the water bladder in and out. And the water bladder I used, I was able to stuff it in there and take it out even when the bag was completely full. That's another really good feature about this bag. So this is the Kestrel 38. I think in the women's it comes in a 36. And I'll show you in the video. I'll actually put everything I have in the bag and you can see what it looks like when it's full. All right, the next item on my list is my sleeping bag. I brought a sleeping bag because the weather in Spain can be unpredictable. I mean, I went in June. For the majority, I would say it was hot, but there were a few days where the weather was just bizarre. In Osobero, it was pretty cold. Tricastella was kind of cold. And there was one other place that was pretty chilly. I can't remember, maybe Cacabayos or something like that. Cacabayos was pretty chilly. Anyway, I brought a sleeping bag. The bag I have the REI Heliosac 50. So it's a 50-degree rated bag. As you can see, it's super thin. It's very flat. This is a synthetic fill bag as opposed to a down fill bag. If you don't know the difference, down feathers come from like ducks or geese, and then synthetic is just a synthetic fiber. The reason I like a synthetic fiber bag for this trip is it's pretty flat when it's compressed. But unfortunately, there are bed bugs on the Camino. I do know people that experience bed bugs, and it was kind of traumatic for them because you just don't know where you got them. They're in all your gear. You have bites all over your body. But a synthetic bag is good because you can just throw it in a washer, wash it with the hottest water, and it's easy to dry. If you've had any experience with down getting wet, when it does get wet and you try to dry it, it'll dry, but it'll clump up and it'll disperse unevenly and everything. It's just a hassle. So if you wear anything, all your warm stuff should be synthetic fill so that it's easy to wash and dry if for some reason, unfortunately, you get exposed to bed bugs. So this bag weighs 26 ounces, not very heavy, less than 2 pounds. And like I said, it's pretty small. What I did use this for mostly was as either a bed covering or just a blanket, depending on what albergue you go to. Some had real sheets, some had paper sheets, some had really no kind of sheets, more like a rubberized blanket, a rubberized mattress, I should say. It does open up flat. It's relatively thin, easy to wash. If it gets wet, you can just hang it and it'll dry out pretty quick. And it does compress down pretty small. And I'll show you how I carried this. I basically just kind of folded it over a few times. And then I just rolled it up. And basically use a dry bag. The good thing about this dry bag is it's very lightweight. Push it in there. Squeeze all the air out. And then once you have the air out, you just roll it up. And then of course this dry bag, once it's compressed, fits very, very neatly into the bottom of my bag. Perfect. One other item I did bring, which a lot of people won't bring, I'll show you what I did. I did bring a pillow. This is my Lucky travel pillow. It's got a long story, which I won't get into, but I would just take this pillow and just put it in the bag with the sleeping bag. Stuff it in there, compress it. Now, obviously the pillow does not compress as good as a sleeping bag, so it does take a little bit more work. But after 30-something days of doing this every morning, you kind of get a little trick to it, you figure it out. And even with the pillow, you can see it still stuffs right in there pretty well. And you still have plenty of room for other stuff. One thing the sleeping bag compartment does have on this is it does separate. Has a separator from the top and the bottom of the bag, so you don't have to worry about your sleeping bag interfering with everything else. Goes in there. Zips closed. Sorry, I didn't have these straps on my bag when I went on a trip. You can see it takes up no more space than it's supposed to. All right, and that was my sleeping bag and my pillow. And that sleeping bag I got at REI. I think it runs like about $80. All right, these next few items are things that I brought, which some people might consider optional, and really all depends on your experience and what you'd like to have as far as luxury items or whatever. So I have this Z-Packs pouch. It actually connects to the 2 shoulder straps on my bag, and I like to wear it right here chest mounted. And the reason I do that is because I can put my passport, my pilgrim passport, my money. I can fit my 360 camera with the selfie stick, put some snacks in there, just any miscellaneous stuff. It sits right here. It's nice and comfortable. Doesn't interfere with anything. I can access it without having to stop and take my bag off. Another really nice feature of it is the way the strap system is. It basically connects with a series of straps to your chest. And say you stop at a cafe or something, or wherever, or you get to town and you want to just have all your items with you, you can disconnect it from your chest, click the 2 straps together, and you can wear it as a little shoulder bag, a little purse. So it's pretty good, and it's also made of Dyneema, so it's pretty water resistant. I wouldn't say waterproof. I mean, if it rains hard enough, stuff can get wet in it, but in a light drizzle or regular day-to-day, it's not going to get wet. And it's ridiculously light. I mean, it weighs 1 point something ounces. Another bag I brought. At the end of the day, when you get to town, you might want to go shopping, look around for stuff. I brought this little collapsible backpack. It's got a main compartment. It's got a separate pocket in the front. It has 2 slots for water bottles or whatever. Those fit wine bottles as well, though it's not as sturdy. And the beauty of this is it compresses into its own sack. This is made by 4 Monster. It's called the Lightweight Day Pack. It weighs 3.7 ounces. Folds down really small. You just throw it in your bag, but when you get to town, you can throw it on and walk around town, do your shopping, do your night out and whatever. And you can have all your valuables in here. It fits a pretty good amount. I think this is 16 liters, and for its size, it's pretty good. Another item, headlamp, head torch. This one is made by Petzl. It is a rechargeable model. It has different brightnesses. Honestly, I only used my headlamp once. I was hiking in the summer. The sun comes up at about 6:30 before 7. Only one time did I leave the albergue that early, only because I had kind of a long day and I was trying to catch up with some other people. So I left at 5:30 and it was dark, but I mean, I worked for like maybe an hour or so before it got, the sun was up enough where I could see without it. I didn't use it at the albergues. I didn't really get up very early. If I did, I used my phone, but if you know how to adjust the light on your phone, it kind of works better. But headlamp, head torch. The controversial walking, people call them walking sticks. I call them trekking poles. These you can buy just about in every single major town you come to. You can buy them in Saint Jean. You can buy them in pretty much every city and town. Although the more isolated or the more smaller the town, the higher the price. I've seen them go anywhere from 60 euros to 10 euros. It just depends. I use trekking poles all the time when I hike. It's just something I'm used to. I've used it in the John Muir Trail, I use it in Kilimanjaro. I use it pretty much any hiking. These have probably over 1,000 miles on them. They are Black Diamond Trail Eagle corks. They have cork handles, which are great. They're very resilient. They don't break down. They don't smell. You don't really get sweaty hands in them. And they're fully adjustable. And a trick for some people, if you've never been hiking before, put a little duct tape on your pole. This is, when you unravel, this is about like 2 or 3 feet of duct tape. And it's a good place to just store duct tape. You don't have to carry a whole roll with you. You can just have it right on your pole. And if anything breaks, duct tape has 1,001 uses. I mean, you can make string out of it. You can make pretty much anything. You can repair just about anything. Fix a shoe, patch something. But I keep a little duct tape on both my poles. Also, one of the big issues people will run into at the albergues is I don't want to use the word stolen, but misappropriated trekking poles and shoes. It's a very common occurrence, believe it or not. When you get to some of these albergues, you'll have 50 or 60 pairs of shoes all in one little area, and some people love to leave at the crack of dawn when they're not very alert, and they'll grab a pair of shoes that apparently looks just like theirs and fits amazingly comfortable, because what I've noticed is all the shoes that were taken are always a size bigger than the shoes that were left. Don't ask me why. But I marked my poles with these zip ties. They're yellow, and I also had a little yellow zip ties on my original pair of shoes. But another thing I eventually did, which I thought was a good idea I'd heard before I left, is you can buy a little travel lock, one of those little TSA travel locks, and you can clip your poles together. So when I eventually started traveling with a bunch of people that I normally would stay all together at one albergue, we would just clip our poles together at one lock so we knew that our poles wouldn't disappear. And you can also use the travel lock on the back of your shoes too. I mean, it weighs an extra, 4 ounces or 3 ounces, whatever, but it's kind of nice, a peace of mind. At least you know nobody's going to walk off with your shoes accidentally, All right, trekking poles. This is definitely a luxury item, but I do a lot of hiking in the summer. I do a lot of hiking when it's very hot and in places where there tends not to be a lot of shade. This is my hiking umbrella. This is the Gossamer Gear Light Flex umbrella. It weighs 8 ounces, which is pretty light for what it does. It's a regular umbrella. It's pretty big. I think it's 30 inches. And it's nice when you're hiking, like especially on the Meseta. When I was out there was a heat wave. I think one day I recorded the temperature up to 109 degrees. There was no shade. The only shade is what you had with you. There are maybe 1 or 2 trees, literally. So it's kind of good. You have an umbrella. When you want to stop and take a break, you can pop your umbrella up. You have a little bit of shade, and it's not very hard to walk with an umbrella. I mean, I would say most of the Camino is pretty flat, and it's pretty just walking on roads, and an umbrella really comes in handy. And I definitely made a lot of use of it. And if you look at any of my videos from the Camino, you can see there's a few times where I did use it. And I think it came in handy. And it doesn't weigh anything, sits right in the back of your pack, out of the way. So that's all. That covers all my gear. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is clothing. I'm going to start with the clothing that I wore basically every single day. And I think one of the key features for me when I was hiking, since it was summertime, it was very sunny, was sun protection. Just trying to keep from getting sunburned, because if you've ever had sunburn, you know how miserable it can be, and there's nothing worse than having a sunburn and having to go back out in the sun the next day and make it worse. So obviously the basics: underwear, light synthetic fabric, easy to wash, quick to dry. Same thing with the shorts. I wore these shorts every single day. These are my go-to hiking shorts. I wore them pretty much every trip I've ever gone. They're super lightweight. These shorts weigh 3.2 ounces. Pretty light. The underwear weighed 2 ounces. Socks. I wore one of 2 different socks. Either it was the Darn Tough merino wool, no-show hikers. These are great socks. They're made of merino wool. You would think wool would be hot. It's actually not. It helps your feet breathe. It does not have odor. You can wear these socks for days on end, actually, which I've done if I had to. But they're great socks. They're very comfortable. They just keep your feet from getting all messed up. Another popular sock that everybody talks about, the Injinji socks, the toe socks everybody loves. These are not made of wool. It's like a synthetic, but I guess where they lack in wool properties, they make up in your toes are nice and separated, and you won't get blisters between your toes. I've never gotten blisters between my toes. I've gotten blisters on my toes, and that's more of the shoe rubbing and not the sock issue, or the toes rubbing together, I should say. But these did come in handy because I did wear hiking sandals for quite a bit on the Camino, and it was nice because these worked out good with my sandals. Hat, of course. Any hat you wear is better than no hat. This hat is very lightweight. You can almost see through it. It's got a plastic bill, and the great thing about it is you can wash it, throw it in the wash with your clothes. It does no damage to it, and it comes out nice and clean. And I wear a hat because I usually wear a sun hoodie. This particular sun hoodie is made by Under Armour, but plenty of companies make sun hoodies. Outdoor Research makes a great one. Mountain Hardwear makes a great one. REI makes good sun hoodies. But what you're looking for in a sun hoodie is specifically the SPF factor. This one is 50. Some are 15. Some are 40. This one happens to be 50. This sun hoodie weighs 5.8 ounces. It's very thin. It dries easy. It washes very easy. It has an odor inhibitor, so it doesn't smell even after a few days. But you wash it, rinse it, and it takes almost no time to dry. Has a nice hood, comes all the way over, and then with the hat and the brim, you're pretty much well protected. Your face. The sleeves come all the way down. They have a little thumb, so it'll actually cover the back of your hand. But I wore this, and some people say, oh, maybe it's kind of counterintuitive to wear a long sleeve shirt when you're hiking, but in actuality it works better because you do sweat, and then the sweat, as it evaporates off the fabric, actually keeps you cooler, as opposed to having the sun heating your skin directly. And if your skin is exposed, obviously you're going to need to put sunblock. And if you've worn sunblock and you sweat, it actually kind of makes your skin hotter because you're putting basically a coating over your skin, which is preventing it from your sweat from evaporating. And you don't have to worry about all that greasy mess, and you don't have to take a ton of sunblock because your majority of your skin is well protected. One thing about sunblock is it's good to put sunblock on the back of your legs. When you're hiking the Camino, the sun is coming up behind you every day. You're walking west and the sun's coming up in the east. I said a lot of people, I saw them hiking and they had very crispy calves because they weren't putting sunblock. So I highly recommend sunblock. The only place I put sunblock was on my face and on my legs. And then once you get a nice base tan after about Lyon, you don't really need sunblock on your legs. You should be pretty dark by then. All right, that covers the clothes I wore All right, now let's get into the rest of the clothes I bought. Not the clothes I wore every day, but extra clothes, spare clothes, or clothes I might have worn when the weather might have changed. We'll start with the beanie. This is a little merino wool beanie, pretty thin, pretty light. Usually wear this in the mornings and even some nights. For some reason, it was really hot in the day, but when the sun went down, it got pretty cool, especially in the higher altitudes. But even in the cities, it didn't really get it didn't stay as warm as you would have liked it to have been for summer. Every night, I think I wore my fleece, and I had my beanie available with me pretty much every single night. For some reason, it just got windy and cool every night. Hot in the day and cool at night. Total socks, I brought 4 pairs of socks. I didn't probably need. I could have gotten away with 2, but I just like having extra socks because unfortunately another problem in the Camino is sometimes your laundry does walk off the clothesline. So you always want to have some kind of backup because although you can find socks, and Gingy socks are pretty popular, you can find them at some of the sporting goods stores in the cities. You may not always find your size or the socks that you particularly like. So I brought 2 Darn Tough, and I brought 2 in Gingies. Shorts. Besides the shorts I wore every day, I actually brought 2 other pairs of shorts. I brought a pair of shorts to sleep in, and the reason is it's just one less thing to wash daily. And I just brought another pair of shorts because I didn't want to wear my sleep-in shorts, so just another pair of shorts to walk around town in. And I brought 1 pair of long pants. These pants are hiking pants. They're specifically made for hiking. What's nice about it, they have a built-in belt. They're stretchable, but they do wash and dry really quickly. They're very easy to rinse, and they dry pretty quick. I saw a lot of people bring convertible pants. I guess they're trying to get like a 2-for-1 shorts and pants, but the convertible pants tend to be really heavy, and they tend to use a little bit of thicker fabric on them. They're not as lightweight as these are, and when you wash them, it takes a long time for them to dry. One of my friends I was hiking with, she wore convertible pants, and when you had to wash and rinse those things and wring them out, it was a lot of work. So just think lightweight, thin materials whenever you're picking your clothes. Lightweight and thin, because 1, it's going to be lighter to carry, 2, it's going to be cooler, and 3, it's going to wash and dry a lot faster. I brought a total of 3 pairs of underwear. I probably could have got away with 2, but it's always good to have a spare. Originally, I only brought one t-shirt. So Under Armour t-shirt, synthetic, dries real easy. I only wore this after, like in town. I never really wore it to hiking because I didn't want to get sunburn on my arms. The only problem with bringing one t-shirt though is every single picture you take, you're wearing the same shirt. So that may not be a big deal to you, but I thought it looked kind of weird because it seemed like I was wearing the same thing every day, which I was. So I eventually went and bought another shirt in one of the stores in town. Most of the sporting goods stores don't carry American brands. You're going to be hard pressed to find any American brands when you're in Spain. So if you're particular certain brands, you might want to bring a spare. I brought a fleece jacket. This fleece jacket has a hood. I highly recommend anything you bring that it has a hood. The reason being is it makes it more versatile. If it doesn't have a hood, then you have to wear a hat. And with a hood, if you have a hat, you can bring a thinner hat because if it gets cold, you put your hood on. This is just a zip-up fleece. It's, I would say it's a lightweight fleece, not a mid-weight, but it does the job. Combine this with a long sleeve shirt or a t-shirt or your rain jacket, and it's just as good as having a heavier jacket. And I brought one rain jacket. This is the only piece of rain gear I bought besides my umbrella. It's just a Gore-Tex rain jacket, nothing really special, but it is pretty lightweight. This jacket weighs in at 7.8 ounces. The fleece jacket weighed in at 9.4 ounces. So they're not very heavy. I think the heaviest clothing item I brought were the pants. The pants weigh in at 9.8 ounces. So, fleece jacket, stuff it in the front pocket of your backpack. They pretty much sat in there all the time. I think we only had really 2 days of rain. No, 3 days of rain. There was 3 times I put this jacket on, let's put it that way. One day we were leaving, I forgot what town, there was thunderstorms coming in, it rained for like 5 minutes, and then you get too hot to wear it, you take it off. Another day it did rain, we actually walked in it, and it was actually nice. It's nice to have some rain after with so many days of hot weather, so the rain was actually pretty nice. Besides the clothes I wore, all the clothes I carried came out to about 5 pounds. So not bad. I could have went a little bit lighter. I probably could have shaved off maybe a pound, if I really needed to. So that's all the clothes that I carried with me. All right, next we're gonna talk about the electronics I brought with me brought with me on the trip. I didn't bring much, but I probably brought more maybe than some people would bring. I wore a Garmin watch. This is the Garmin 5. I use this to track my distance and temperature and stuff like that. Just keep stats on my thing. I like to keep stats on my pace and stuff like that. So I use my watch. So the watch has its own charging cable, so I had to bring that. I also brought my Insta360 camera, which I didn't use as much as I wanted to. I did, but I didn't really use it. I used my iPhone, which I'm recording this video with, way more. I took over 3,000 pictures and well over 2,000 videos. So I use my phone way more than I use this. And it also I also brought it with a selfie stick because it just works better with that. Selfie stick did come in handy a few times. Charging cables, one for the 360, one for my phone. I brought this universal adapter. This came in pretty handy. This is a little bit bigger than what you need. You could probably just get one, but it depends what you're charging and stuff. I brought this one because it has 3 USB ports on it and a USB-C. So I could actually charge 4 items simultaneously, and you could plug in another to here, and someone else could piggyback on you and plug their stuff. Because although plugs are usually available, they might not always be in the right place. And sometimes they do get kind of full, like people do, there's a lot of people and not a lot of plugs. I think one hotel we went to, the room had one plug. There were 3 of us in the room and only had one plug, which I thought was weird that it had just one, and it wasn't a very good one. So to each his own, And then I brought a battery pack. Now people would say you don't need a battery pack because you can charge your stuff every night. Absolutely true. You do not need a battery pack. But I brought this particular battery pack because 1, I already had it, and 2, because I used my phone so much, not only for taking pictures and videos during the course of the day, I also listened to music or podcasts or audiobooks or something. So my phone was going pretty much all day. So by the end of the day, my phone, I would get to town, it'd be run down. So what's good about this is I could charge my phone while I was walking around or sitting or eating dinner or drinking, wine or whatever with my friends while we were hiking. And I could piggyback other people. Other people could charge their phones and stuff too. So my phone was always charged. And I did carry 2 phones. And I can talk about that now. My phone, it wasn't broken. Like it's not, I don't know what you call it. It's still under a certain subscriber. So I brought a spare phone with me to Spain, and I put a Spanish SIM card into that phone. So I would have a local phone and then my regular phone, because there's not always phone service. So I use my Spanish phone for local service in case of an emergency or something, or use it for WhatsApp, and then I use my regular phone for just taking pictures and video and stuff like that. So it's kind of good to have. I brought the battery pack. The battery pack is heavy though. I mean, if you're really counting calories, so to speak, this weighs 13 ounces. So it's not a pound, but it's a significant amount of weight. But considering my overall my weight without water for my bag was 15 pounds. It was a weight that it just came in handy for me. And this thing, you can go for days and days and days and not charge it. Everything went into this small waterproof bag. And it's kind of good to have a system, especially when you're packing stuff up in the middle or in the morning and it's dark and everything, can't see anything. It's kind of good to know exactly what you're supposed to have and what you're not. Because a lot of times you'll see people leave and they'll leave socks behind or cell phones and all kind of stuff. Kind of surprising. Everything fits in here. I can throw it in my bag. Get it. All right, we're getting towards the end here. We're gonna get into the miscellaneous items. These are things that just the random things that you bring and maybe need or don't need, depending on your personal preference. I brought a mesh laundry bag. The reason for that is it makes it easier to carry your dirty clothes to and from. Also makes a good place to store your dirty clothes. If for some reason you don't get a chance to wash them, you can keep them separate from your other things. And as you go along in Camino, you meet friends and you kind of pool resources and stuff. So it's kind of nice to have a bag everybody could throw their dirty clothes in at the end of the day, and I could take it to get it washed or dried, or just if I'm washing somebody else's clothes or they're washing mine or whatever, we can keep them all together and just throw it in. And if you have to go up and downstairs in albergue, you don't want to carry wet clothes, or just kind of easy just to have all your stuff in. Doesn't weigh anything. I mean, it's perfect. Just any kind of mesh little laundry bag. Another thing I carried, the very controversial water bladder. I don't know what people have against water bladders. I mean, I understand that they're not the simplest thing. It's not like a throwaway plastic bottle, but at the same time, do we have enough water bottles on the planet? Seriously. This water bladder, with a little bit of work, is very easy to maintain. Key thing is only put water in your water bladder. Don't put drinks, don't put electrolytes or anything like that, because that will make your water bladder smell and it will ruin it. This one is the Osprey Hydraulics 2.5 liter water bladder. It does weigh 6 ounces by itself. Sorry, I'll tell you exactly what it weighs. It weighs 6 ounces by itself. It's a little on the heavier side because it does come with some nice features. One of the features it comes with is has a quick disconnect hose, so you don't have to take the hose off your shoulder strap. You can take the water bladder out, fill it, connect it back, and you don't have to worry about unweaving it throughout your whole pack if that's the case. It also has a nice wide opening, which seals very easy. It's easy to fill. You can put ice in there if you get ice, water, whatever. Seal it. Never leaks. This actually came with another backpack I have. I didn't buy it for this particular trip. I used this water bladder when I went to Kilimanjaro. Came in great. On the Camino, I didn't fill this up all the way. I usually only put maybe 2 liters of water in it, because I would usually carry a water bottle with like the electrolyte that you can buy. There's aqua something that they sell in Spain. But I would usually get one of those bottles and refill it and reuse that bottle all the time. But another thing you don't have in Spain, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of recycling. I didn't see a lot of places to recycle bottles. In the big towns, they had the garbage cans, but most other places, there wasn't any place to really recycle. So if you are concerned about the environment, I would suggest a water bladder, personally. Stuff sack, or dry bag, or pack liner, whatever you want to call it. This is a 30-liter bag, waterproof, has a roll top. This is where I put all my clothes, pretty much everything in my bag. And the reason for that is, if I need to get everything out of my bag for some reason, I can pull everything out. Plus, it's another layer to protect your clothes from whatever you might be exposed to, whether it be water, bed bugs, or anything else. Something spills in your bag, your water bladder bursts open for some bizarre reason, which I've never had happen to me. But you have all your stuff in one place. Good to have, very lightweight. I mean, it weighs maybe 1 point something ounces. Washcloth, this is not the washcloth I actually use. I had a bigger one, I lost it in Barcelona. And a bath towel. Bath towel, you definitely want to get some kind of microfiber towel, lightweight, that dries very easily and quickly. And make sure it covers your body. I don't know why some people would bring what I would consider like a washcloth as a bath towel, but I guess that's just how some people like to roll. So bath towel, washcloth. All right. These are sun gloves. If you have experience walking with trekking poles out in the sun, your hands are exposed all day because you have them in this position pretty much the entire day, and you will get a nice sunburn on the back of your hands, which doesn't seem like it would be that bad, but I've seen some people with pretty bad sunburn on the back of their hands, and it's very painful. Sun gloves, they don't weigh anything. Easy to wash. You can stuff them in your hip pocket if you don't want to wear them, or it's not sunny or whatever. But just one of those items that, you know, you might want to have. A lot of people have foot issues on the Camino, besides blisters and all kind of other things. Plantar fasciitis, or sore muscles, or they get swelling or something like that. I brought this little cork exercise ball. It's great for rolling out your feet, and just roll your foot on it. Stretches out all that fascia of your muscles on your feet to help you with that plantar. You can roll your calves with it, you can roll your quads with it, you can roll your back, your shoulder, everything. This weighs like 1 ounce, and because it's cork, it doesn't absorb odor, it doesn't really smell or anything like that. Easy to clean, doesn't weigh anything. I brought this and quite a few people used it. You know, it does come in handy. Tips, rubber tips for your trekking poles. You can get these in Spain. Mine didn't last the whole trip. I think by about 2 weeks, the metal tips had worn through the bottoms. So you might need to get 2 pairs, or buy one in country if you're really concerned about your poles tic-tacking on the ground. Little trick, tape your tips to the bottom of your poles, because if you go into mud or something, it'll suck them right off the end of your pole, because they're just kind of friction fitted on there. They're not really welded on there, so they will come off. So a little duct tape will keep those from falling off. Another thing I brought that most people don't bring, or didn't bring, or didn't want to bring, whatever, for whatever reason, I brought a little miscellaneous equipment repair kit that I just like to have, because too many times I've seen simple things ruin people's trips, like a broken shoelace or whatever. So I carry maybe about 20 feet of 550 cord. If you're not familiar with 550 cord, it's based on a military cord. It's supposed to be rated for 550 pounds, but it's basically a 7 strands of nylon string wrapped with a flexible outer core. But what's good about 550 cord is you can use it for anything. You can use it for a belt, you can use it for a shoelace if your shoelace breaks, which can break. What I primarily used it for was a clothesline. Although every albergue has a clothesline, sometimes the clotheslines get really full and there's no place to hang up your clothes. And when the sun's going down, you kind of want your clothes to be out when it's at least warm. So you can string this up. Another place it comes in really handy is if you stay into a private hotel room or an Airbnb or something, which we wound up doing a lot of. You know, we would chip in and get like an Airbnb for the night or something. There wouldn't be any place to really hang up your clothes. I mean, you can hang them in the bathroom, but I mean, not a lot of places to hang it. So what I would do is just kind of spider web this in the bathroom, just zigzag it across and hang the clothes. And it did come in handy. I brought a little piece of I don't even know what this is called. It's like a maybe tent. It's like guideline for a tent. It's super light, and I just use this for extra clothesline, and it's also good for repairing stuff. So one of my friends I was hiking with, her hip belt had torn away from her backpack, so her bag was canted to one side because it was no longer attached to her hip belt the way the bag was designed. I forgot what kind of bag it was, maybe a Gregory. So what I did is I actually cut a piece of one of my zip ties that I had and made a little needle out of it, threaded this, and was able to stitch her hip belt back onto her backpack for the last, I think it was like maybe the last 2 or 3 days, but it did make a difference. So just little tricks. 2 zip ties maybe, a little extra for a piece of equipment repair. Doesn't really weigh that much. I brought these 2 pieces of shock cord. I don't know why. I thought I was gonna bungee stuff to my bag, which I never did. I didn't really need them, but I had them with me. I brought my own clothesline clips. Now people say you don't need them because every albergue has them. True, every albergue does have clothesline clips. However, they usually don't have enough. Because if you think about it, you're there with 20 or 30 other people that are each hanging maybe 6 items of clothes. That's a lot of clothes clips that they have to have on stock. So I just brought my own. You know, I just put them in my pocket, washed my clothes, and if they had, I used theirs, and if they didn't, I had mine. They don't weigh that much, wasn't a big deal. I brought a little light. This light's not very bright. It's not going to wake anybody up. I have it clipped in my bag, and I can just use it to look around, see if I left anything behind. This is definitely something you don't need to bring, but I like to carry it with me because I like to MacGyver stuff if I have to. This is basically like a little Leatherman. This is the actual Leatherman Squirt is what it's called. Leatherman Squirt E54 or ES4. It has a wire stripper, a wire cutter, but what it also has in the handle is it has quite a bit of little tools that are very handy to have. It has a scissor, has a screwdriver, and it has like a little bottle opener. And then the other side has a file and it has a knife. I did use this to make that needle to fix the bag, and it came in handy. I also like to carry a thermometer with me, or electric thermometer. I don't know why. I just have an interest in knowing how hot it is. But this just hangs from my bag, and it's kind of nice to know what the temperature is. And anyway, so that's all of that miscellaneous stuff. And then this is my first aid kit. First aid kit, very personal item. It all depends on the individual. I'll show you what I had in mine, and this worked out pretty good. I had some Neosporin, always good to have in case you get a cut or something. You have something to put on it. Some extra chapstick with some Leukotape on it. Leukotape is basically like a medical tape, but it's very extremely sticky. It's good to put over a hot spot, or if you have a blister, you can bandage it and then put the Leukotape over so the bandage doesn't get ripped off. Lip sunblock. I don't know how you are, but my lips can get incredibly sunburned, so I wore this religiously. Little thing of Vaseline. Good for your feet if you're getting blisters or stuff, and then a little bit of hydrocortisone, which I wound up using. I wound up getting, they call it golfer's rash on one of my legs for a couple of days. Some ibuprofen. This is what I got in Spain, and then I brought some cold medicine, which I never used, but it's always good to have. Some Band-Aids, which you can get in Spain, no problem. A little piece of moleskin, alcohol wipe, a little bit more Leukotape, and then I have some leftover Compeeds that I bought in Spain. People use these like, it's like candy. It's ridiculous. I don't think they work very well. I think they work good if you're putting them on your foot and you're not hiking anymore. Like, I got a blister and I'm not gonna hike anymore, but if you're hiking every day, I mean, it takes a lot of preparation to put them on correctly. You gotta clean it with alcohol, you gotta make sure there's no loose skin, blah, blah, blah. I brought KT tape, which I was fortunate I never used. If you're not familiar with KT tape, it's like a kinesiology tape. And basically what it is, you can tape different parts of your muscles and stuff, and it helps relieve it. I brought it because I have bad knees. I have really bad knees. And I've injured my knees before going downhill on hikes, like in the John Muir Trail. I had to tape my knees. So I just brought it as a precaution because I didn't want to bring knee braces. It was either bring knee braces, neoprene knee braces, which are way heavier than just a little bit of KT tape. So I think I have enough in here to tape my knees 2 times, both knees. And it doesn't weigh that much. I didn't use it, but I saw a lot of other people had KT tape on the Camino. So it's always good in case someone else needs it too. So that's everything in my, oh, I did bring a hygiene kit, like a toiletries kit. It rolls out in a bag and everything, but I don't have it here. But all my toiletries and everything like that, I mean, came out to like a pound and a half of stuff, depending. The first aid kit weighed about 8 ounces. The equipment kit weighed about 3 ounces. And then I think I told you the water bladder weighed 6 ounces. Yeah, so that is everything that I brought with me on the Camino. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pack everything up so you can see what it looks like in the bag. All right, one more thing I almost forgot was footwear. I started out the Camino wearing a pair of Salomon boots. The reason I was wearing them is because after buying and returning 10 pairs of shoes, I could not find a pair of shoes that really fit me the right way, and the boots were the only thing that I had. I did wind up getting rid of the boots when I got to Logrono, which I think was like day 6 maybe. And then I wound up just wearing my hiking sandals. So since I don't have the boots, I'll show you the sandals that I hiked in. So these are the Bedrock Karen 3D Adventure sandals. They're made by a company called Bedrocks, and these are great sandals. They are made for hiking. You see the bottom has a Vibram sole. They're not super flexible, but they're not very stiff either. And after walking over 400 miles in these, they don't really have a lot of wear. Mostly on the here, but these were great. And if you wear the Injinji socks, I want to wear the Injinji socks with these every day. So I have my little toe in there. They only have one they're very adjustable, but once you put them on, you only have to make one adjustment, and you can adjust it as you go. Because sometimes if you're going downhill, you might want to make them a little more snug, or if you're going uphill, you might want to make them more snug. But 95% of the Camino is all road. Like you're either walking on a asphalt road, a dirt road, a sidewalk, a stone path or something. There's very little off-road hiking. I would say probably less than 10 or 20 miles of off-road hiking, really. It's not that much. It's mostly road walking. So whatever shoes you are going to wear, and that's really up to you, only you know your feet. There should be shoes that you could walk in every day, all day. That's really basically it. You don't need any technical shoes or special high performance shoes. You just need shoes that are comfortable on your feet, that you can walk in for 8 to 10 hours a day and not get blisters. So when I got to, I think it was Carillon, I did wind up finding a pair of shoes after searching every single store I stopped in. I found one place that had shoes that fit me. So I did wind up buying these Salomons, the X Ultras. These are Gore-Tex. They're the only place I could find shoes in 12 and a half. These are not as wide as, I have very wide flat feet, and I do suffer from plantar fasciitis. Well, not anymore, but I used to. And I needed shoes that were wide. And of course, as you hike during the day, your feet tend to swell, especially when it's warmer. So I would start the day off in these, but probably before lunch, I would wind up switching to my sandals. And I actually liked hiking in the sandals. The only thing I didn't like, it looked just kind of weird. It looks like you're walking barefoot sometimes. But the sandals were great. No blisters, nothing, you know. The sandals weigh, these weigh 19 ounces. So when I wasn't wearing them, they're just stuck into the back of my bag, bungeed in, and then middle of the day I'd stop, switch them out. And because I could wear my Injinji socks, I didn't have to really go through a lot of changes. And even in the rain, they were great. I mean, because your socks get wet, but those socks are so thin, they dry so quickly. And then the Gore-Tex shoes, of course, Gore-Tex, they don't get wet. People ask, okay, so let's see if we can pack this bag. Okay, let's see. All right, so in here I have my sleeping bag and my lucky pillow. That's where that went every day. I usually stuck the Coke ball in here because it was just some place to put out of the way. close that up. And on the outside of the bag, or actually, let's put the clothes in first. So I talked about my dry bag. So what I would do is take all the clothes I wasn't wearing, and I would basically wrap them in the pants. Open the pants up, put the clothes in. This would all go into the dry bag. Once you get it in there, take the backpack, drop the bag into the backpack. And that kind of gives you a base to pack everything else into. Laundry bag, won't need till the end of the day. That can go in there. Towels and washcloth, that can go in there. Bag of electronics, don't need that. That can go in there. And then depending on the weather, if it was gonna be warm, like we're walking across the Meseta, I mean, you're not gonna need your fleece. Not at all. Roll that up, throw it in there. If it was a cold morning, I would wear my fleece and then I would stick it on the outside pocket. All right, so that's pretty much most of the stuff in there. Rain jacket, always on the outside pocket here. That would pretty much live there the whole entire trip. All right, so I've got everything. Oh, I forgot my socks. Socks would have went in with the clothes. Leave that in there. All right, so that's all of that. My extra bag that I would carry stuff in. Jam that in there. And then once I get all that in there, I'm just gonna roll this down. I'm not really worried about it being airtight or anything like that. I just close it up, seal it. And now I don't really have to worry about anything in here getting wet or flying around my bag. All right, so I've got that all in there. Close this up. Now close the lid. Now what's nice about this lid is, for one, this has a little bit of bungee to it, so it kind of stretches. But once you get these straps snug down, I mean, it's a pretty nice compressed package. In the top pocket here, I would put my little repair kit in case I need it. This bag has plenty of room. I mean, you can see how much room is in this top pocket. Put that in there, spread that out. And then I could also fit snacks in there. So snacks would be like, maybe a power bar or whatever, you know, whatever I could grab. I usually bring some olives or something with some salt in it. On my two outside hip pockets, on one side, or both sides actually, I would put my beanie and my sun gloves. Put those in there. And then on this other pocket, I would put my big tube of sunblock. I'd have my sunblock in there and I could reapply it as I went. On this shoulder, I would clip my thermometer here so I could look down on it, 85 degrees. And then on the side here, I would just stash my umbrella. This goes down, and then I can just run it under the strap here. It's a compression strap that comes with the bag, so it doesn't interfere with everything. That's in there. One thing I didn't talk about the backpack that a lot of Osprey bags have, and if you're not familiar with it, Osprey has a system called the Stow on the Go trekking pole system. And basically what it is there's a place, you run your trekking pole through the bottom, and then there's a strap you put on top, so you can carry your trekking poles kind of on the side, so you don't have to walk with them if you don't want to. A lot of times, you know, you don't really need trekking poles all day. And it's a good break if you want to not use them. Then the last thing I would do is attach my slippers. So I click them into the carabiner here. And I just run them under this strap. On that side. that's pretty much what my bag look like every day. I could put a picture on that. You can see it on the video. If you look at some of my videos, that's pretty much it. Of course, I have my shell here, and I might hang like a washcloth or something here. And the way this bag is loaded right now, give or take, I mean, I might be missing 1 or 2 items. My base weight, so my bag without any water or snacks or anything, weighed about 15 pounds. And then I would carry anywhere from 2, maybe 3 liters of water. So that would add like another maybe 4 or 5 pounds. So with water, my bag probably weighed about 20 pounds a day on average. Not very heavy. And I carried everything. And that's it. That's everything that I carried on the Camino. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll put a link to my lighter pack lists on there. It'll have everything that's in this bag is going to be on this list. There might be like a few stray items, but nothing like, he didn't tell me he was carrying 20 pounds of this. No, everything is pretty much on there. Might be a few things that might be here and there missing. The only thing that I would put on the back of the bag, I would slip the water bladder in this little pocket in the morning after I filled it up. You know, and with a little practice, you can figure out how to do it. Especially if you don't fill the water bladder all the way, it's pretty flat. If you know 2.5 liter water with only 2 liters of water, it's pretty flat. Slides in there, strapped here, and you're good to go. Oh, I would have my chest bag here as well. So that would clip to 2 clips, and I would wear it on the front. I'll post a picture of what it looked like when I had all my gear on, so you can see. All right, but thank you for watching my video. I hope it's helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I am planning to go back on the Camino next summer, 2023, maybe June or May or June, and do the Del Norte, because it seems like it's kind of more my speed. I wanted to do the Frances because it's the one, you know, if you're gonna do a Camino, you want to do that one and do that one first, and then you can go out and try all the other ones. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.